Hi, everyone. We are back with the Janelle Show, and I am here with Dr. Megan Fisk. Guys, I would love to share with you that Dr. Megan Fisk is on a mission to elevate soul-led entrepreneurs' voices in communities throughout the world so they can inspire more clients through their services and courses. As a Gemini with a Ph.D. in communication, she uses her 10 years of experience as a college professor and her intuition to demystify the speech craft process for her clients so that they can build confidence, motivate audience of all sizes with their message, and earn more revenue. Primarily, she works with coaches, teachers, and healers. She uses public speaking as their main attraction, marketing strategy by constantly going live, speaking on podcasts, and being part of summits. Dr. Megan, how are you?
I'm doing so well.
That is
I'm
great.
loving the 2021 energy. I'm like over 2020. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. 2021, it's okay. I'm ready to start it over again. Like maybe we can do Sunday Happy New Year.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of been a bit of a sequel, like in the world to 2020, but yeah, we could always restart too. So,
You know what? To me, 2020 wasn't that bad. So it was bad on, all of the pandemic things, yes. But
mhm.
for me, I think for you probably as well, we were still at home working, doing the things that we usually do. But for the rest of the world, it shifted their whole mindset.
It really did. Yeah. And I had so many friends like reaching out, asking me, like, wait, you work from home all the time? How do you make it happen? Like, how can I stay productive? All
Yes.
of that stuff. So, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
definitely.
exactly. Yeah. But now the thing is that I have kids, so the kids are here too. So how do you manage all that too? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a lot. My best friend that I live with teaches second grade. So we don't have any children of our own, and I feel like all of the parents of her students are very jealous when and so are my clients that have kids. I'm like, yeah, I mean, we just watched Bridgertons all Christmas and didn't really have to do anything. And they're like, yeah.
Yeah,
But
I just got into Bridgerton. Oh my gosh. I had no idea. Like I loved Gossip Girl, and I feel like this is Gossip Girl redone. I was so sad when Gossip Girl ended.
I know I loved Gossip Girl too, and I love Pride and Prejudice. There's this 5 hour long BBC Pride and Prejudice version that I've seen tons of times, and so it was like the perfect combination of everything. And then I ended up reading all of 9 of the books over
I didn't know
Christmas.
it was a book. It's a book too.
It's this whole book series, so each of the kids has their own book that's like their own love story. It's a lot.
Each of the
Totally recommend.
Bridgerton kids.
So there's those 8 kids, and each one
Oh my
has a
goodness.
story. I know. It was a lot, but so good.
Oh my gosh.
It was the perfect distraction for all of
I bet.
2020, end of 2020, beginning of 2021.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. But yeah, totally in love with Bridgerton right now. So I'm in the middle of it. So don't tell me anything. We won't
Okay,
talk
I
about it
won't.
anymore. but
I
but
kind of want to marry the Duke of Hastings. Like more the actor. I'm like, if anyone knows him, if we could get hooked up, that'd be great.
no, that accent is everything. I'm like, hello, Duke.
Mhm.
But Megan, I wanted to go in. So tell me, if I was to ask you, who is Megan? What would you say?
Yeah, I know. I love these types of questions. So I start with, I've got a PhD. I'm a very like progressive, passionate woman on this mission to really change the world. I'm tired of like the antiquated public speaking methods that are out there in the world in general. I used to do a lot of work with like political communication,
Mhm.
and I have a really strong belief in the power of female voices
Mm.
and elevating them. So I am very like driven by what I do. And then beyond that, I'm the aunt to a ton of wonderful nieces and nephews and a cat mom. And then a Gemini is a big part of it too. It's in my bio, but
Yes.
Geminis sometimes get a bit of a bad reputation because, oh, they're double faced or whatever. But we really just love conversation and we love people. And so I fully embrace my Gemini-ness and love everything astrology too.
I see. I see. That's wonderful. So, okay, what is your PhD in? You said it's in
Oh,
communication.
yeah, technically organizational communication.
Mhm.
So I spent the first half of it, and so I finished like 5 years ago now, which is just nuts to think about.
Mhm.
But the first half of my studies was more on extremist communication and like counterterrorism efforts. And then I was like, I'm so tired of studying how societies fall apart. Like, how do we actually build societies? Like,
Mhm.
is there patterns, ways of like fixing all of this? I just wave around. So then I ended up doing a lot of community organizing in Arizona, and worked at this nonprofit called the Center for the Future of Arizona that was really dedicated to pursuing the citizens agenda. So they had commissioned Gallup to do a poll on what Arizonans really wanted,
Mm.
because there's so much more that unites us than divides us when you take a lot of the political rhetoric out of it. But what would happen is then I'd go to a community meeting in like rural Arizona that's, very conservative, and say, no, like this is what Arizonans said they want. And they're like, well, that's not what we want. Like, we don't want to pay more taxes for education. Like, we don't, well, in rural Arizona, they want better healthcare for sure, as a lot of places. But regardless, it was really my dream job in a lot of ways, but I didn't feel like it was. Like, when it's that thing that looks really great on paper and you're like, okay, it's taken all of the boxes, but then inside you're like, what is this? Like,
Why don't I feel fulfilled?
exactly. Why don't I feel fulfilled? And then it was, okay, well, maybe I just need to like be more grateful for what I have and that sort of thing. But the big turning point was when my friend, well, now we're friends. I didn't know her back then, but she was a visiting scholar I had a joint appointment with Arizona State University
Mm.
and this nonprofit. And so this is why I'm always like, it was really the dream job. Like, academics hear what my position was, and they're always like, wait, how did you get that? Like, that sounds amazing. Because I didn't have to do a lot of like the peer reviewed research that comes with those jobs traditionally, because I
Mhm.
don't, that's not me. So
Right.
I'm like,
But you manifested what was worth perfect for you, right?
I did, yeah. And so I got teamed up one summer. We had this visiting scholar from Nigeria whose name's Ada Masai, and she runs Mayan, that's a literacy nonprofit for kids more in rural parts of Nigeria, but also like even the one of the cities that she's in isn't like doing great on the education front.
Yeah.
So she does not only like uh, reading literacy, but also political literacy. And that's
Mm.
what I had become really interested in, is like, okay, how do we like educate the younger generation to do more and like be a little bit better, know more about like even media literacy? Like, a lot of the disinformation that's out there right now comes from a lack of critical thinking and media literacy skills that we're not doing a sufficient job of teaching throughout our whole education pipeline. So anywho, Adam changed my world because she was with me for 6 weeks, and she's just the embodiment of, I don't know if you like the tarot card. Do you know tarot?
Of
Yeah.
course. Yeah. Yeah.
She's like the embodiment of the Empress card.
Okay.
Like, she's just such a kick-ass, strong woman. She used to be a lawyer, and she was like, no, I had to do something about the education in my country. And
Mhm.
so we were just swapping notes, and it was amazing. And I was just like, yeah, like there's so much more I could be doing. I just wasn't sure what it was.
Mhm.
And I really thought at that point I wanted to do more in international development and helping with literacy and young people and all of that. So I ended up going to Nigeria for a couple weeks, which was awesome. Yeah, that was my first time out of the US. And then I joined the US Peace Corps. And was able to work in Kosovo at the University of Pristina to modernize more of like their student affairs side of the university, which was really cool. And had a great experience. But while I was there, I was really on this self exploration mission and like, what am I supposed to be doing in the world? And that's when I discovered that my passion and like what I'm really great at is helping other people craft their stories, to get more media presence. And like, there's an impact that I can have as one person, of course, like, and I think everyone can have a huge impact when they speak their truth. And there's an even greater impact. There's so many more people that we can impact. And so like this year in 2021, I'm on a mission to work with 78 soul speakers. And then I love math. Not like I like some math. And I figured out like the combined effort would be 1 million people who we could be in front of if I had 78 soul speakers out there. Which then
Okay.
that's so much larger than I could have, than you could have, like, but together we can all move the dial one more step, one more little notch up, to create a more equitable world that's based on love and not on fear. So that's what I'm all about and what I've got going on.
I love it. No, I love how everything that you did in the past has now tied together to be who you are right now, what you're doing right now. So you've literally figured it out. What people have been trying, are still trying to figure out, you found for yourself.
Yeah, and some days it is like a okay, I figured it out, like weight of the world feeling. But most of the time, and when I talk to great people like you and my clients and everyone that I know is pushing towards the same goals, um, I just feel so much hope and inspiration. And that's what was lacking like 4 or 5, 3, 4 years ago, when I was still in Arizona, was just this passion and the hopefulness. And so I'm incredibly hopeful. I know the world might seem like a mess if you watch the news all the time, but I think there's so much good that's going to happen and is already happening.
Yes, I agree with you. I don't even turn on the news because I feel like it's very biased and very scary. So, yeah, no, but I love that. Definitely. That's wonderful. So my question is, how did you get to this point? So you said you went on your soul mission, right? You were soul searching and you're in a foreign country. So is it like a eat, pray, love kind of thing? You just
I
jump on a
always say
plane.
Peace Corps is like the poor millennial version of Eat, Pray, Love because they pay for, you get like a small stipend every month and like your health care is paid for, those types of things. And then you're volunteering all of your time to this foreign country. I was on the Albanian side of Kosovo. There's a big ethnic conflict between the Serbians and the Albanians in Kosovo. And they've only been a country since 2008.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, so for me, it was a lot. I was one very intentional going in, like, oh, we can talk about God too. I had no idea what I really believed. I knew I needed some sort of spiritual footing. I was like,
Mhm.
okay, I'm smart enough to know that all of these happy people seem like they believe in something bigger than themselves. I'm not
Mhm.
really sure what that looks like for me. So I made a very conscious effort. I had done so much yoga, and kind of thought I was like, maybe I'm a Buddhist. I don't know. Like, is that it? Like now I'm just kind of a combination of everything. But so I was like, okay, well, we should probably read into it and see if that's what we really believe. So it was an intentional effort on that side of things. And ultimately, it's what led me to find Marianne Williamson and Gabby Bernstein. And so they're both big on like A Course in Miracles, but
Mhm.
really anything that is pursuing love over fear.
Mhm.
Is more my motto. And then I'm always like, I found this quote too that I love. I think it's like the guy that founded transcendental meditation says
Mhm.
that like the purpose of life is the expansion of joy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, that's all I needed. Like, I believe in something bigger than me. I do believe in reincarnation, and like that side of things. But um, it was really finding Gabby Bernstein was what opened my eyes to like, wait, like this could be a job. So she had at one point something I was listening to mentioned that like she was telling a story about working with a speech coach before one of her books was published, and I was like, wait a second. It was like one of those moments where your whole body gets like a little jolt of energy and all of your little hairs stand up, and I was like, that's a job. I had no idea that was a job in the world. Knew that like I had taught public speaking
Mhm.
for, I don't know, to thousands of students because it's the main course that we teach in the communication department.
Mhm.
And I really enjoy teaching it. I've done tons of speaking. I was the student government president of my university. So, I had spoken in front of 10,000 people at the graduation. Like, I love it. Yeah, it's a wild story too. Um, and then all of my friends would always come to me for speech advice. So I did consulting for like my friends running for school board in Arizona, or I had other friends that were doing an academic conference, and they were like, "Can I just run my speech by you real quick?" And then I was actually writing speeches for the former president of the university at one point too, because you just have to give so many speeches when you're in the PR side of things. And so I was like, wait, this is a skill that I have that I really love. And then there's all these awesome, cool people that are doing so much good in the world that are one, terrified of public speaking. Like it's the number one fear. And a lot of, particularly writers, don't like public speaking. They're like, I have the perfectly crafted sentence on my page and it's never going to come out of my mouth that way. So what am I even going to do? And I was like, I want to help them. Like, I want to figure out how I can magnify their voices. Like, so that was like 2.5 years ago that I heard that. And then I worked with a lot of people for free. A lot of, Gabby calls them spirit junkies that are out there pursuing their business passions, and more of these like soul led entrepreneurs. And worked with quite a few of them, and then eventually I remember I put out my first like offer in August 2019 to my list of like 25 people, and then I was like, okay, all 25 of them are going to work with me. And no, like one did, and she's still close and dear to my heart. A goddess yoga teacher, which is just so cool.
So cool.
Yeah, I love it. And so then I realized I need more help. Like I know nothing about running a business. So I invested in my first coach, to really help me get on the trajectory. And so then by March of 2020, I decided to leave Kosovo, just as the pandemic was setting in too, and come back full time in my business. And so it's been a wild ride since, but things are going really well. So
I
it's
love
just a lot of ups and downs, but
But I love that you said that because you just said something so pivotal that I think a lot of people right now are thinking about. You said, I left a country, started a business, March of 2020, and things are going well.
yeah.
We're in the middle of a pandemic, March of 2020. The stock market drops, March of 2020, right? But you're doing well. So that's fabulous. Congratulations on that. That's great. Yes. So, what do you think it is? Why do you think that your business is doing so well during a pandemic?
Yeah, I think the number one thing is consistency.
Mm.
And then I'd say closely followed by mindset, which I think supports the consistency.
Mm.
So I show up every day and set aside time. Like, and I know the difference, and I can feel for folks that are still treating like their side hustle or their business as a hobby, because that was totally me the first year. Like, it was, oh, if I have time, or, you know, I'll do, let me post something on my social media right now where I'm going to wait until I'm inspired to write the best blog post I can possibly write.
Yeah.
And now it's like, no, I consistently put out one blog every week. I do 2 Facebook lives. I have a private Facebook group, that's like my main hub where I send everyone. I make sure that my social media is scheduled. I make sure that I'm regularly sending out emails to my list. I've done tons of market research to see what even folks want right now.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, so it's that consistency, and it's like treating it as a non-negotiable in your life. It can't just be a hobby and expect to make money off of it. But then secondly is mindset. And so my first coach was actually a mindset coach and business mentor. And she was pivotal because our minds like trick us into thinking, oh, well, no one actually wanted to hear what I had to say, right? Like this post, only one person clicked out of, my 10,000 friends or however many I have on Facebook. So I should just stop.
Well,
Right, and those thoughts aren't productive. No, and, like, so you really have to start to listen to what is that, like, I call it the mean girl voice. I think of, like, Regina George from Mean Girls. Like, what is she saying in your head? And is it true or is it not true? Right? And then figuring out, okay, if it's not true or if it's not even helpful, right? Because a lot of the times that voice just isn't even helpful. What can I do? Like, what thought is going to serve me better? So it only has one like now, and that's no big deal. Like, I'm going to show up and do it again tomorrow, right? Like, that's a much more productive thought. Um, like, I actually have, if you want my full, I have like my 5 core statements that or like thoughts that I think that are a lot more productive. I have them written in a little notebook right next to me.
I love it. I absolutely
Yeah.
love it.
I mean, because it's one of those things that I think a lot of business owners in particular just get so stuck in, like, the self-sabotaging and, like, procrastinating behaviors of their
Mhm.
own. So I'll show you. I'll tell you what they are. The first one is that the clients are out there. Like, if you don't have that basic belief that there's clients that are going to buy from you, you're screwed before you even get started. So you have to, like, start every day thinking the clients are out there. Two, I can find them and they can find me. And, like, that's where I come in as a public speaking coach too, is a lot of times your media presence and, like, your outward facing, like, communications, even people aren't going to be able to find you. So you have to be very clear, like, this is who I am and what I do, so the clients can find you. So that's number two. I can find them and they can find me. Number three is the payoff is worth it. So again, early on in my business, I wasn't charging what I should. And a lot of people, I think, get stuck in this trap too. Yeah. And then you get the client and you don't feel rewarded
Mm.
because you're working for pennies on the dollar of what you should be doing. And then that doesn't encourage you to get more clients, right? So the payoff is worth it. And then four is a little bit woo woo, but it's what I believe is the universe connects me with those who need me the most and who I can serve and help achieve their highest good. So I fully believe that the universe only sends me people that I can help. Like,
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, in
uh,
some way, shape, or form, whether you realize it or not.
exactly. And I think what's so powerful about that belief in particular is then when, because these thoughts creep in sometimes, it's like, oh shit, who am I to be doing this? Like, can I
That
actually
imposter syndrome. Yeah.
make this happen? And it's like, yeah, they wouldn't be in front of me if I couldn't help them. They wouldn't have found me if I couldn't help them. So I really like that one. And then five speaks to this too, is like, I have faith that it's possible and in my abilities to achieve.
I love it. I love it. That's beautiful.
Thanks. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I read those 5 every day and have
Wow,
for
that's
months.
good.
Yeah, I have a pretty strong, like, morning practice, I guess I would say, like,
Mhm.
little morning routine to really set me off on the right foot. Like, I don't sleep with my phone, I don't look at my phone until I've, like, read these 5 things, done a little morning check-in with myself on, like, how do I wanna feel today, and then dive in.
I think that that is wonderful. I've heard that that really works for people who want to be productive and have a great day because our phones come with so much extra ich on it.
Well,
So
and
that helps get our mind right.
mhm, especially, like, I think I started it maybe, like, June-ish when, like, the pandemic fatigue was, like, really setting in, and I was like, "Every day is just exactly the same." Like, what am I need to do something to, like, break out of the monotony of it, and so what I really like in the morning is I have, like, 4 feelings that I am always trying to, like, cultivate in my life, like, one of them is, like, more peace, being, more, like, plentiful. Like,
Mhm.
I got mad about the word abundance at some point. Like, I like it as a word, but I was just like, "Everyone talks about abundance. I need a different word." So I went with plentiful. Delicious and wild. And so the delicious and wild ones are fun because then it's like, "How can I be more delicious today? How can I feel that?" Right? Or, like, "How can I be more wild?" Like, I can't, go out clubbing or go on some amazing adventure today. But there's something small I can do that is going to bring that energy into my life.
I love it. I think I asked that the other day of people, like, what do you do to get you more high vibe? Like mine is like I turn on my music on my TV and I'm just in here dancing. I can't dance, but I mean, just pick up the energy in the room, like change it up. I light my incense, light some candles, and I'm
Mhm.
just in here dancing. So yeah.
Yeah, I do the same thing. Like some days my wild is like I'm going to just belt out Hamilton at the top of my lungs.
Hamilton is
Or
hard. Is love, love, love. I love Hamilton.
or do dirty dancing to Cardi B. That's been one of them too.
I love it. I love it. So I'm a big reader, so I always ask all my guests, what is your favorite book? What are you reading right now? Give us books. Tell us what's
Oh my
going
gosh. Well, anything by Gabby Bernstein, I
on.
highly recommend. She's got a new one called Super Attractor. So if you're really into manifesting, that one is a great foundation. But what I'm reading right now, one of my clients actually recommended it to me, and it's called Donut Economics. And it's really about why our whole current system is messed up and isn't working because it's based on this whole growth trajectory. And I'm not an economist. So for those out there that are like, what are you talking about? But like the idea is our GDP has to grow by 2% every year. And that's how we measure success. But you can't have infinite growth.
Right.
At some point it collapses. And so what's cool about donut economics is it's a circle where there's like I forget what is happening fully in the circle, but it's basically finding like a homeostasis of
Right.
growth and like not taking away from the earth too. And
Right.
so it's a really cool book that lays out a whole new economic system that we could be operating from. And I love living in the world of like what's possible and what ideas exist. And what I also really appreciate about it is I think she's like an Oxford economics professor,
Um,
even. So it's not like like at first I thought it might be like a woo woo, like, type thing. But then I was like, no, like this is actually
legit. She's smart.
she's actually really smart. It's founded in really great data, and has the potential to revolutionize the world if more people would buy into it and think about, okay, if we're not seeking infinite growth and exhausting all of the resources of Earth and are instead trying to figure out how can we live within the resources that are here and create more equity for everyone, what does that look like? And so it gets me super excited.
Love that. I'm gonna have to try to check that one out. That sounds
Yeah,
great.
it's really cool.
Yeah, I love
Um,
learning new things. I'm definitely not an economics person at all. I'm just like, I like to make money. That's it.
right. Yeah, it's really approachable too. So that one was great. And then Glennon Doyle's Untamed,
Yeah.
um, best book of 2020, I think. I
Okay.
think it came out in 2020, but it was my favorite.
She
So
has been
highly.
popping up all over everywhere for me. I was
Has
watching her
she?
on
Yeah.
Super Soul Sunday a couple weeks ago, and she's everywhere. So I do need to read that.
Yeah, it's really great. I use her examples a lot in my public speaking coaching that I do because one of the types of people I work a lot with are personal development authors that are aspiring to be like Glennon or Elizabeth Gilbert from Big Eat, Pray, Love and Big Magic and all of that. And when you look at like how they structure their interviews and they're basically like a signature speech that they share over and over again, from Super Soul Sunday to podcast interviews that they do for book promotion, all the things. And Glennon has this really great one that she talks about all the time. So I'm always like, let's just listen to this speech. It's so great.
Okay. I'm gonna have to check that out. That's so funny. But Megan, I really appreciate you being here. This was delightful. I had a great time. It was delicious. I'm gonna use your word.
Love it.
So Megan, if people want to hire you, they want to connect with you, they just want to be in your energy, where can they find you? What are your links? What are you working on? Tell us everything.
Oh, awesome. So the best place is my website, Dr. meganfisk.com. And from there, you can get into my free Facebook group. It's called Public Speaking for Soulpreneurs, where I show up live 2 times a week. I'm super active in there and engaging with folks. Tonight, it's a Thursday. We're doing like a little new moon ceremony because it was the new moon in Capricorn. So that's the type of stuff we do with my Facebook group. And then my main way to work with me is called Soul Speakers Academy, and it's a 3 month group coaching program. So if you've got something you want to launch into the world, if you're from a book to an online course that you've created, or if you're a coach in the online space and the real world, whatever you've got going on, I can help you communicate better about yourself and what it is that you do. So come on over and check me out.
Thank you so much, Megan.
Thank you for having me. This was so much fun.
I appreciate you even being here. This was fabulous. Enjoy your day.
You too. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.